So it's Friday night, you just came home from work or school, and you're like, shit, Smuggler's Run is coming out on Tuesday and I have no money. Well, do not worry, I'm here to help you out with that, but there are a few things that you have to own in order for this thing to work in its full potential. Currently, there's double cash going on import and export vehicles, so we're going to be focusing on that alongside the bunkers. If you don't have either of those two businesses, kind of skip around to the end of the video. Well, I'll leave a timestamp on your screen right now if you don't own any of these things. If you do, stick around, we're going to show you a nice method of making some serious bank. So having mentioned import and export and the double cash on it, one thing that I have to mention before we continue is that there's currently a bug within GTA Online that makes standard tier vehicles seen as mid-tier and mid-tier vehicles seen as top tier. One very important thing before we continue is that you should have a look at the list on your screen right now. This is a list with all the top tier vehicles in the game for import and export. Any other vehicle outside of the list is not a top tier vehicle and is affected by the bug. Now, speaking of top tier vehicles, you're only going to want to be focusing on those, because if you don't, you're going to be wasting time and wasting money. Now, in order to only get top tier vehicles is very simple. All you need to do is to have every single standard and mid tier vehicle, because what the game does is very simple. Up until 32 vehicles, which is the total amount of vehicles within the import and export warehouses, up until that point, it will only give you one of each vehicle. After 32 vehicles, it will start give you duplicates. So what you need to do, if you haven't already done that yet, is get all the standard and mid-tier vehicles first, and then you'll only be able to get top tier vehicles. Do watch out that you not go over the 32 vehicles, or else you're going to be getting duplicates, which also might include standard and mid-tier, and that will be a waste of time and money. Speaking of wasting time and money are collections. Collections are something that you don't want to pay attention to except for one, which is this one, with the T20, the Osiris, and the X80, with of course the right license plates as well. Now, there are some people that say like, hey, you should try and focus on that as well. You shouldn't, because if you want to try to get the right license plate and stuff and do all kinds of tricks for it, it's just simply a waste of time. I've gotten 2 cars in this collection by simply playing the game, so what you should just do is don't focus on them, and if you happen to get 1 or 2 of them and the third one, you can sell it for the collection for a nice 70k bonus. And one last thing for not wasting any time is that if you get the Roosevelt Valor, then just keep it in your warehouse. The thing is slow, you don't want to do another source mission with it, and you definitely don't want to do another sales mission with it because it's slow, it will waste time, and the other cars are much faster. A few last tips for import and export is that the timer for your next sale is based on game time. So if you quit the game or GTA Online, or you get kicked from a session or disconnected, that timer will stop. So you actually have to physically play the game in order for that sale counter to go down. Another brilliant way of saving some time is using your assistant. As soon as you exit your office, make sure to pay her a visit, then go to your Pegasus vehicles, and you'll be able to spawn yourself a cargo bob. Now, this cargo bob is going to be essential to your import and export business, mainly because you can just simply hook on those vehicles and basically get no damage at all. Sometimes you get shot a little bit, but driving it will mostly cost you $3,000 to $5,000 because of the amount of damage the AI is doing to your vehicle. Now, if you don't own a cargo bob, it might actually be a worthwhile investment. The cargo bob, if you are lucky enough, is currently a targeted sale, making it only 1.3 million, and will only take you 8 car sales to get it back. If you don't have that targeted sale, then it will be 10 car sales, and it will round up about 3.5 hours of playtime, which isn't really that much if you think about it. The cargo bob is also just handy in general, and maybe even you can just find one on the street and use that. It's not as handy, mainly because what you want to do as soon as you're done selling or you're done sourcing, using the helicopter to go to the top of your office and then spawn in from the roof. It saves a bunch of time and loading screens as well. Right, so having said all that, let's move on to the actual method. Once you spawn in GTA Online, what you need to do is to immediately go to your vehicle warehouse and sell a car. Once you've done that, a 20-minute cooldown will start and you will have time to source a vehicle and refill your bunker. Now personally what I like to do is I like to first fill up my bunker so that can generate money. Make sure that your staff is fully set on manufacturing, because with a 25% increase of speed for manufacturing and research at the moment, it's only going to take 9 hours instead of the usual 12 hours to fully refill your bunker, which will give you an additional $1 million. If you're lucky, you'll get a resupplying mission with a vehicle, which are the best ones if you're riding solo. Obviously, if you have an additional buddy with you who is willing to help you out, this will speed up the process in a big way, especially if you're doing this with more than 2 people. The more people, the more resupplies you'll have in one go. Once you're done with your resupply, quickly go to your office and source a new vehicle. When you're finally done with sourcing that vehicle, you'll already be in your vehicle warehouse and you'll be able to immediately sell a new vehicle and just rise and repeat until it goes on. A few things you want to keep in mind is that if you don't have a bunker, you could kind of do the same thing but then with your biker business. If you don't have that, that's fine too. Just simply do another vehicle, because you'll be able to source 2 vehicles within that 20 minutes time of waiting. Now one issue with sourcing 2 vehicles and selling one is that at some point you're gonna run into the 32 vehicles mark. Now what you could do after that is maybe play like a quick mission or a quick race or whatever to keep the money going, or maybe even a VIP mission or some piracy prevention, anything along the line of that. There's plenty of free mode events going around as well, which will earn you a nice 10 grand or something like that. It's not much, but it still keeps the money rolling as well. Or, of course, you could be a very nice guy and help out your buddy sell or resupply as well. Now with this way, you'll be able to earn $480,000 every single hour, and that's excluding having your bunker create money as well. So after 9 hours, that will give you an additional $1 million. Right, so for those who skipped to this timestamp are probably wondering like, hey, you know, I might have listened to all these things, I might have not, but this is worth to go back and listen to all this stuff that this idiot have said. Personally, I think that if you're trying to make money in a serious way right now and this weekend, then investing in those businesses is simply something that is only for someone that is going to spend the entirety of the weekend just doing nothing but playing this game. Because in order to make everything back, it's going to be like 6 hours, and then you're going to have to start making a profit. So overall, I highly advise you not to invest into this thing and try other ways of making some money. Here are a few examples of what you could do in order to make some cash. First of all is double cash on adversary modes. In the bunker series, there's currently double cash and also in Vehicle Vendetta and Vehicle Vendetta Street. Now these adversary modes have one thing that is very nice, which is the winner's bonus. If you're someone that is a confident player, then this should be pretty simple for you to do. If you also have a buddy or 2 where you could play with, this will greatly increase your winning chances if there are decent players too. Generally, random players are quite shit and have no idea what they're doing, so if you're an okay player, you should have no issues whatsoever carrying the entire team and getting yourself some very nice bonuses. I've seen people earn over 200 grand, and one thing you definitely have to keep in mind is that this is all based on time. The more rounds you play, the more money you're going to make. Speaking of other things that you could do as well is races. Races is a fantastic way of making some good money. Obviously, you have to be confident within your racing skills. If you have a Rocket Voltic, you could try to go for the premium race as well. It has a $20,000 buy-in and you'll be able to earn $80,000 if you manage to finish in first place. Stunt races, of course, are also a fantastic way of making some money. You can earn up to $35,000, I believe, and with the stunt races lobbies being, well, pretty much child's play, sometimes literally, you shouldn't have too much issues in winning races, as well as walking away with some very nice cash. And of course, last but most certainly not least, is the inevitable pack standard highs, which is probably the best way of earning some cash if you don't have any of the other things or the skills to do the other stuff. There will be a guide in the link in the description down below made by Gypsy. He made an excellent guide telling you what to do for the pack standard and how to complete it in under or around an hour. And if you're looking for a group for this pack standard, then I'll include a link in the description down below to a Discord, which has like, I believe like 1300 members or something like that. So you shouldn't have too much of an issue in trying to find some players to play some pack standard with. Obviously, playing the same heist over and over again might be a bit boring, so changing it up a little bit with some vehicle vendetta or another adversary mode or even a race might also be a good idea for not making you go crazy. And if you're not someone that's really willing of doing all these missions and jobs and all that stuff, a very old school trick is to of course sell some cars that you don't use anymore. It's kind of like an overlooked thing. I mean, obviously you're proud of your collection, but there's gonna be some new stuff coming on this Tuesday, and it might be worth selling, for example, the RE7B, which is now completely useless because it got nerfed to shit because of the downforce patch and also the nerf it got whenever that bug got fixed that it had. Obviously, if you're someone that cares more about the looks of a car rather than the performance, it might not be as much of a valuable option as others, but still it's something that you should definitely consider. So yeah, there you have it. I hope you found this useful. Make sure to leave a like if you did. If you have any additional tips and tricks for other people to try and make some extra cash in these desperate times before smugglers run, then be sure to do that in the comment section down below. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.